Hey guys, Bar Robley here. I want to talk to you guys today about something that is it's something that's near and dear to my heart, and it's something that I think a lot of musicians go through, and it's something that a lot of musicians struggle with. And it involves working with other people outside of the band on a project. And in this case, more poignantly, it's a record producer. Um, I've had the great honor of working with some incredible musicians over the years, and I've had the great honor of working with some really good engineers and producers. Um, but I want to tell the story of something that happened probably, man, it's been a while ago now, probably 15 years ago, with the band that I play with, the Sam Morrison Band, and what I went through and how it sharpened me, but how I think it can also crush you at the same time. So I want to tell my whole story, and hopefully this will help any young musicians, or not even a young musician, but somebody that's going into a situation for the first time working with a producer or an engineer who is maybe somebody with a name or a track record, and how we can get over being intimidated by them. So, a number of years ago, the Sam Morrison Band got signed to a record deal back when record deals were a viable thing, with a company up in the Los Angeles area. And the record deal was to re record music that had already been one time hits. And the show that we do, we have a couple different shows that we do with the Sam Morrison Band. We have our original music. We have, God, I bet you probably 6 hours worth of music that is Southern Rock's greatest hits. And then we have a Bob Seger tribute show that we do. It's called Turn the Page, and it's done really well for us. It keeps us, you know, very well employed, and we travel a lot with that show. I think it was in 2007, like I said, it was a while ago, that we got signed to this record deal to re-record all of Bob Seger's music. When iTunes was a viable place to get your music, the music was to be uploaded on iTunes and sold. We still sell the CDs, but we made CDs out of it and we sell them at the show, so there's physical product to it. And then the hopes were that it would also go into sync licensing. Sync licensing is the stuff that, for those of you who don't know that might be seeing this, it's for music that goes into television, for television shows, for commercials, for movies, all kinds of stuff like that. So that's what this music was for. So we had to re-record these songs, and our job wasn't to do our version of the songs. Our job was to go in and re-record the exactly what was recorded before. And the hopes were that a couple of things would happen. Number one, that the recording, because it was more modern, would sound better than the original recordings. It wouldn't be better songs, it wouldn't be better performances, because the performances, again, were to be duplicated. It was just to be a better quality of recording, a better sound quality. And then also, a lot of the songs that were recorded in the 60s, 70s, and into the 80s may or may not have been recorded to a click or a metronomic pulse. So the song would move, right? The song would speed up or slow down. And so that kind of made it impossible to be used in some of the sync licensing stuff, because if a song is supposed to fit into a scene for television, or in a movie, it needs to be dead on so that it can fit into that scene. So we were cutting everything to click. Um, Mind you, this was well into my playing career and well into the band's playing career. We had been established and been around for quite some time. So when we got signed to the deal, we were really excited. And the producer on the deal was a major producer. He had played with some of the biggest, worked with some of the biggest names in the business, and he had recorded some hugely successful albums. And so it was a very exciting time for us. It was really cool. We're going to get to go in and record with this guy. And so we get into the studio, had a lot of confidence. We're ready to go, and it became apparent immediately, right away, that it wasn't what we thought it was going to be. And he was really, really hard on the band, but hard in a good way, right? And for those of you out there who are drummers, you will understand that a record producer or an engineer, you'll get this, they're really hard on the drummer because they want that foundation to be played and they want it to be played in perfect time, right with the click or the metronomic pulse. Now, I'd been playing with a click for years. Um, I play to a click live, and my time is good. And I had, at this point in my career, I had had a lot of recording experience. But when we got to this level, it was just different. And so he was coming down on me pretty hard. And it took about a week to record. I think there was 15 songs on that first album. And it took me about a week to get all the drums done. And through this whole process, I'm kind of starting to realize that I hadn't done my job as well as I thought I had. To be totally honest with you guys, I would listen to the recording after I'd recorded it, and then we would compare it to the original recording, and either things were left out, or maybe I didn't nail the part just right, or maybe my time was off. Well, with the advent of Pro Tools and digital recording, he could fix my time, and trust me when I tell you that was an ego crusher. That just, oh my God, that just killed me. And then the other thing was that, again, he wanted exact re-records, and maybe I took a liberty with a drum fill, or maybe the groove wasn't 100% correct, and or maybe a fill was left out. There was a few little things that just weren't right. So when we signed the deal, it was a 3 album deal. We were to record 3 albums of these re-records. So when I got done with my tracks from the first album, I was happy with the tracks, and I still stand by it. I think the record's great, but it wasn't as good as it could have been. And that was on me, totally on me. And so I kind of, at first, I was calling Sam and I was talking to him about it. And I'm like, man, I could do better, I this, I that. And I was kind of licking wounds. You know what I mean? I was pretty bummed. And the longer I got away from the recording session, the more bummed out I got. And I called Sam one morning, just to kind of reassure myself that everything was cool and that we weren't going to have to redo the drums and everything like that, or have another drummer come in and record the next albums. That was my biggest fear because this was my baby, right? This was my thing. This is what I lived for. So, um, after I got off that phone conversation with him, it hit me really hard that I had 2 options here. I could keep worrying about it, right? I could keep just calling him and justifying everything and being upset and worrying and stewing and stammering over it, or I could go back to work. I could get back there behind the drums, or more poignantly, get in front of the computer screen and start transcribing the next batch of songs that I had to record. And I had to go to work. So that's what I did. So I started by doing just that. I got in front of the computer screen and I got all the songs that were going to go on the second album and I transcribed them. Note perfect. It took me forever I think on the second album there was 15 or maybe even 20 tunes. I don't remember. But I transcribed them note perfect. And once I was set, and I would listen, transcribe, listen, transcribe, listen, transcribe. And once I was done with the transcription, I would listen from the beginning to the song to the end of the song, and I'd read it down, and then I would play it down. And once I was satisfied that the transcription was good, I would go on to the next tune. And again, this process it was very arduous, and it took quite some time to do. So I get done with them, and I started, okay, now I'm going to start practicing them. So when I go in to record them, they're going to be, I'm going to just know them, no problem. So I started recording them, or I started practicing them. Well, once I started practicing them, I realized 2 things. Number one, that some of the songs that were big hits for Bob Seger that we were going to re-record were hits off of a live record, right? A live album from the 70s or the 80s. And because it was a live recording and it was done in front of an audience, there was a lot of adrenaline in the band. So human nature. So The songs would speed up and slow down. It'd speed up and slow down. So what I realized right away was that not only was I practicing the songs and getting good at them, but I was practicing the songs and I was getting good at making mistakes. I was getting good at speeding up and slowing down as the original drummer did on the original recording. Okay. And I knew that Michael did not want that. So what I did is I got a common BPM, beats per minute. I got a common, okay, this song, and I would even write on the chart. Some of them were barn burners. They were fast tunes. 170-ish. So I would say, I would talk to Sam and tell him this is what I found. He'd say, okay, let's do it at 170. So I would practice the song by reading my transcription without the music on and just the click, just the metronome, and playing along with it. Now, this did a number of things, okay? It got me really familiar with the songs. It got me really familiar with not only my own personal time, but my own dynamics. So I wasn't always just yelling, right? I was playing the songs much more dynamically. So now, when it came time to get into the studio and record, what we did on the second and the third album, and all the subsequent recordings that I got to do with him after that, was I did what was called cut to click sessions. And yes, the first session was cut to click. I listened to a metronome, but in these sessions it was just myself, the transcription, and the metronomic pulse. There was no other musicians playing. I was just reading down the charts. And then the rest of the musicians would come in and they would lay down their parts. And that's how we recorded those albums. And this did a number of things for me. Like I said, it helped me with my time. It helped me with my dynamics. It really helped my reading chops and it helped my transcription chops. And a moment ago, I said in the subsequent recordings, what it did for me also was Michael, the producer, realized right away that number one, I was serious about this and I did the work. So he threw me some work, right? Hey, he knew that Bart could do this. He's like, man, he can go ahead and he can transcribe these tunes. And there was a whole bunch of music that he was doing for sync licensing at the time. So he'd give me songs. Hey, let's record these 10 songs. So I'd go home, I'd transcribe them, I'd practice them up. We'd go into the session and I would record them. So it really made me a better player all around. Now, the moral of the story is this. I could have very easily shrunken down and I could have done the sour grapes thing. Oh, these records, these are just re-records. These aren't our songs and this is ridiculous and I don't need to do this and this is for the birds. This isn't even our music. This is somebody else's music. I'm not even crazy about the music. All these things that I would hear other people saying. I could have done that. Or I could have gone the route of more resistance, not least resistance, and which I did. Transcribe the songs, practice the songs like crazy, and come in and cut the songs. Prove to the producer that I could do it and get more work from it, right? And it made me a better drummer. It made me a better recording drummer, a better recording artist, a better session drummer. It made me a better drum teacher because now I could teach my students not only, I'd always teach them how to transcribe it, I could really teach them how to dig in and figure out what was going on in a song even better than before. I could teach those songs that I transcribed because I had the transcriptions to them. And at the end of the day, I could hold my head high going, you know what? I did that. I did that. So that's the moral to the story. So if you find yourself in a position where whatever it is, you may never find yourself in that position like I did, but whatever you find yourself in the position where you have to become a better you, don't take the path of least resistance. Don't run away. Don't walk away. Stand up. Become a better version of you. Sometimes it really involves swallowing your pride. Sometimes it really involves putting in hours and hours of arduous work that you're not going to get paid for at the time. But in the long run, when the albums come out and the albums sell and the albums are doing well, you will get paid for it. And you'll be very thankful you did, because when you hear those albums, now not only are you proud of your work that you did, but you can listen back years later and go, wow, that really stands up. It's really good. So, my advice to anybody out there watching this and seeing this video is, remember that when you're trying to do something creative, when you're trying to do something that is a creative process, whether it be music or art or anything, you want to be the best version of you that you can be. And if you're working with a producer or an engineer, or even just another band member, and they're trying to get something out of you that you can't do everything that you can to try to give them what they want. Because at the end of the day, again, what this is going to do is it's going to make you a better you. A record producer or an engineer does not dislike you because of your playing or your performances. Don't take it personal. They're trying to get the best take out of you that they can possibly get. That's their job, right? That is their job, is to get the best out of you that you can give them to the project. And sometimes, like I said at the beginning of the video, this involves stretching. And stretching can be painful, but when you get through it and you're on the other side of it, you'll be really thankful for it. If you have any questions about life coaching, music business and entrepreneurship coaching, or drum lessons, please reach out to me at my website. I've got a couple of links in the description of this video below for a couple of practice things, practice journals and success journals that I've written and put out there that are going to be really helpful for you. You can really take a deep dive and look at yourself. So if you're interested in those, check those out there in the links to the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and watch for my next video coming soon. Thank you so much.